Hello and welcome to the Homeversity podcast brought to you by Residential Equity Partners. My name is Michael Ashley. I'm the founder of Residential Equity Partners, and I'm joined here today by Stephen Cavalcanti. He's one of our managing members.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thrilled to be with you, Michael.
I'm thrilled to be with you, too. We're with each other every day, though. Let's not act like we're not together every day. But you know what? At the end of the day, Stephen, it's like, I think about it, what a journey. It's been 11 years since I founded this business.
Yep.
We've done more than $1 billion in transactions. And it's like, I look at it and I'm like, 2,600 families we've been able to help over the time period.
Some gray hair.
A lot of gray hair. Not you, though. For some reason, I have all the gray hair.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. But it's been quite the journey. And you know what? Like, I think this podcast is really, really important because there are a lot of people who are going to be listening to this who are getting ready to make a decision that's life-changing.
Absolutely.
You know, you agree?
Yo, absolutely.
I mean, we talk to these people all the time. We talk to people who are facing foreclosure, people who have recently inherited a property. You know, I talk to people who recently inherited a property, and I say, you know what? Your mom and your pop, they worked hard for that inheritance for you.
Absolutely. The American dream.
You need to maximize that inheritance, and people go about things like the traditional way, like the regular way. And I say, why would you do that when we can get you so much more money for your inheritance? Or I talk to people who are in foreclosure who are thinking, I'm giving up. Literally, they're giving up, and I'm thinking, why? Why are you giving up? And I realize there's not enough information out there.
Yeah.
There's just not enough information. And we were kind of talking behind the scenes, and that's part of the biggest problem is that I think there's not enough information made available to people who need it.
Yep.
And the information that's out there, there's so much information and there's so much I hate to use this term, but it's true. There's so much misinformation and, quote, fake news when it comes to this because you have so many people out there who just they're in it for themselves. And you know what? Look, we've got a great business. We're in it to make money just like
Absolutely.
everybody else is. But at the end of the day, we're A+ rated for a reason with the Better Business Bureau. You're talking about a company that, I mean, like, I think about it. We've got 500 reviews and 0 complaints. You know how hard that is? I dare any company in any industry to have 500 Better Business Bureau reviews. Better Business Bureau, not Google. Anybody could do Google. Better Business Bureau, completely 100% verified, 500 reviews and 0 complaints.
And I take that serious, you know, and I take a lot of pride in that because when you actually read these reviews, you can really visualize the stories from these clients, and the results are life-changing to them. You know, we're not dealing with somebody who's selling a pair of shoes or making a decision about life insurance. You know, we're dealing with somebody who's losing their property, who's making one of the most important financial decisions that they are going to be making in their life at the time.
Right. But the thing is, maybe they're not losing their property. Maybe
True.
They think they're losing their property. You know, so I think the name of the game here is we've got to get the right information to the right people at the right time because what we have to offer is critical compared to kind of what's out there.
So, Michael, you know, max out homes is a brilliant concept, but
Thank you.
Not every property is going to maybe fit the bill, right? So what about the properties that may not need, you know, a complete gut makeover? What do we do there?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. So what happens a lot of times is, you know, I'll go down to do a max out evaluation of a house and I'll walk through it and I'll say, look, the truth of the matter is that this house, there's no real estate investment strategy for me to be able to make money on this house.
Right.
It's just not there. And so therefore, selling your house to me and me paying cash for it and repaying you later on a profit is not going to work because I can't give you enough. And I'm not going to do that to people.
There's not enough room.
I'm just not going to give them an offer.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
But here, I can still help you to sell your house for more than it's actually worth. And so what happens is a lot of times we'll walk through and people want to, get a cash offer, and I'll say to them, look, right now, like for example, I'll take this property in East Meadow. We went to this property, and there was really nothing wrong with the property except that, unfortunately, the owner's wife passed away.
Okay.
She was a smoker.
Okay.
And so the
smell.
walls were kind of black.
Yep.
And the floors were a mess. And so I said to the owner, I said, look, here's the thing. You can get $100,000 more for this house. $100,000 more if you just painted the house and fixed the floors. And so
Did he
basically,
did he do that?
well, I'm going to tell you what happened. Basically, with Max Out Homes, when I buy a house and I fix it, I got to get top dollar. And I don't trust most of these real estate agents to sell houses for top dollar. So we have, as you know, under our umbrella, our own Century 21 that sells all our properties after they're done. So we make sure we get maximum dollars for them. What we've started doing is we started a program called Fix It and List It, which was really, really good. So we're taking that Century 21 now and taking the agent from that area. So in this case, it was Lisa Freed. She went to this house in East Meadow and said, okay, look, if we just paint these walls and fix these floors, and there was one or two minor things that need to be fixed, you probably get $100,000 more for this house than
Move
you're
the
really
needle.
looking for. Exactly. And so what we did was we started this Fix It and List It program. We went in there. We stained the floors. We got rid of a lot of garbage, and we painted the walls on this house in East Meadow. Literally, the house smelled fresh and new. The smoke smell was gone. We pulled out the carpets, redid all of that stuff. It was like
How much was it?
$15,500, something
Which
like
would
that.
have been how much if I wanted to
Well, you
pay
got to remember,
off-
it's my wholesale people that so it's my contractors
Right.
who are working wholesale for us on Max Out. I lend them the Century 21 to do this, so the price is much cheaper. It might have been $25,000 or $30,000.
Right.
So it was $15,500. So we actually, Century 21 actually laid out the money,
Wow.
paid for the contractors to do the work, subject to them getting the listing. So the contractors did the work, then Century 21 listed the house and got their normal commission that they would normally get. And at the closing, Century 21 was repaid for the work that was done and then earned their money on the commission. And so that house sold, it wasn't it was like $75,000 net more. It was like $90,000 more or less to $15,500 than it would have if they didn't do the work. And so my point here with Fix It and List It is that the housing stock is older in New York State. You got a lot of older houses, and it's minor things.
Right. They don't need a full gut renovation.
No, and it's minor things that cause major decrease in value that are turnoffs to buyers.
Sure.
So a buyer who just comes in and wants to live in a house and he sees, the ceiling, there's a leak because, the ceiling is brown, or there's mold in the basement.
Or if the smell is not
Or if the smell is not appetizing,
for sure. Right.
or the kitchen needs to be replaced. We've done everything from replace a kitchen, replace a bathroom. And so by doing that, it's usually like a 4-to-1 return. You put $25,000 into a house, you get $100,000 back. But the bet is on Century 21 because the money's being put up by Century 21, and then the house has to be sold. And unless that house is sold, then Century 21's going to lose its money. So
Right.
at
So
the
you
end
have to
of
be
the day,
pretty confident
exactly
that
And
this is going to work and fly.
right.
Because there's an investment on your part.
There's an investment on Century 21's part. There's an investment on our part. And so for homeowners who have inherited a property, who are thinking about selling, ask yourself, is there anything in my house that if this was fixed,
Right.
I'd be able to get a lot more money? And you don't have to lay out the money. You don't have to find the contractors. You don't have to do any of that. Century 21 Realty Specialists will do that for you, our specific real estate office. They'll do that for you. They'll use our contractors for Max Out Homes. They'll get that work done for you, and then they'll put the house on the market, and you wind up getting top dollar. And it's just for the same commission
Right.
that
What's
you would
in it
normally
for-
pay.
what's
What's in it
in
for
it?
Century 21 is the listing.
Right.
They get the listing. So, for me, it was like
I think they've earned the listing.
100%. Like for me, it was like I started to go to a lot of these houses for Max Out, and it was, some of them we can buy, and there was a real estate strategy to be applied where I can give a second payment to the homeowner and they can get a piece of our profit. But some of them, it just wasn't there. And I said, it's not worth it for you to do this with me. It's better for you to do this. They're like, can you really do that? And before you knew it, boom, it became a program, and it's successful. So people ask, can I do this if I'm in foreclosure? Yes. Can I do it? Can you do it if you owe more than your house than it's worth? No, that you can't do. But if you're in foreclosure, you're behind on payments, or you inherited a property, even if you inherited a property and you want to use a mix of the things we do, like you inherited a property and you want to use our law firm to get you a probate waiver so that you can sell the house quickly. You know, so by way of example, you take a house, you just inherited it, 2 weeks later, you literally can do the heirship affidavits. The contractors can go in there, do the work. In a month, your house is on the market. You sell it, and you're getting top dollar. Where other companies, you might just be getting started paying legal fees to go through surrogates court.
Bleeding away equity.
Bleeding away equity
Right.
while the house is just sitting. So, I mean, that's what I try and say about residential equity partners is it's the piece, it's the sum of the whole. You know, it's the sum of the parts, actually. Okay? It's everything added together. It's all the puzzle pieces added together that make us so valuable to homeowners no matter their situation.
It's almost like if I'm looking to sell my property, why wouldn't I just get a second opinion to see if there's anything that could move the needle?
Because, like Nell said, people are skeptical. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're skeptical. But listen, this is a Century 21.
Yeah.
This is an agreement. I mean,
Right.
you talk about Century 21 Realty Specialists.
You can look into us. We're
You
findable.
can look at us. Yeah, we're findable.
Right.
You can find us. You can come to our office, by
Yes.
the way. You
Yes.
can come to our office and meet all of our people. But at the end of the day, it's a great program. I wish more people would take advantage of it. Sometimes I see houses on the market. You know, you're just browsing through and you see
Yeah.
pictures like, man, these people can get a lot more money
be
for
a
this
perfect
house.
fit. Yep.
Yeah, they'd be able to get a lot more money for this house. I wish they would have called us. So that's the Fix It and List It program.
I love it.
So Susan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
So happy
It's
to
good
see you.
see you again.
So Susan, you got a letter in the mail from us because you inherited a property, and the property was located in Brooklyn, right? And you called, spoke to Brian, who's my assistant, my cousin, good guy, by the way. He's a good guy. And then you wound up speaking to me.
Correct.
And ideally, you want to sell your house and get as much as you possibly, your real estate
Oh,
inheritance,
sure.
max out your real estate inheritance, right? So I know that your deal, that your property, we did your property as a Fix It and List It under our Fix It and List It program
Yes.
through our partnership with Century 21, right? So I just want to talk to our audience a little bit and let them know about what's available out there and the way it worked. So if I remember correctly, your property was in Brooklyn. It was a nice house, but when we went through there, it needed some minor repairs, some cleaning up, and a lot of stuff was left over.
Yes. And
Right.
painting.
And painting. That's right. We did the painting. So I think we went in one day with 2 trucks, right? And we cleaned out the entire property, if you remember, right? Got all
Oh,
of
yes.
the, I hate to say it, garbage out of there.
Oh,
And it was like, it's a 2-family
Oh, it
house.
was-
It was 2 families full of garbage. It was a lot, right? We got that garbage out. And then I think once we did that, we walked through and said, look, these are the things that need to be fixed. If I remember, I think we stained the floors, right?
yes. We didn't think at the beginning we would, but at the end
At the end, we wound up
Yeah,
staining the
staining the
floors. We wound up painting the house, giving it a fresh coat of paint. And there was like a door that needed to be fixed.
it had to be moved, actually.
Actually had to be moved. And I know that there was a leak somewhere, and the ceiling was like stained from the leak.
Right.
So we had to kind of like make sure that leak was fixed. And then there was like HVAC. I remember there was an HVAC problem with one of the
Yes.
one of the
One of
the
them wasn't
units in the
working.
front. So we got that all done, and I think it was like something like $13,000. It was, right?
Yes.
To do all that, we did all that work for you. And who laid out that money, by the way?
You did.
That's
Which
right.
Was great.
Right. So we laid out the money. We had our contractors do it, and then we put the house on the market. And what do you remember? What we listed the house at?
$888,888.
A lot of 8s.
A lot of 8s.
We listed with a lot of 8s.
Yes.
But I think we listed at 888, but we really thought we'd be able to sell it for more than that. And I know you
yeah.
wanted to get $900,000 for the house. But let's tell everybody, what did you actually sell the house for?
$962,000.
Right. So actually, we took a house that was worth, that we were listed at $888,000 that you wanted to get $900,000 for, and wound up selling it at $962,000.
Yep.
And so the point I'm making is this is part of why Fix It and List It is so important, because if we would have brought people into that house in the condition it was in, with the garbage that was in there, what kind of offers do you think you would have gotten on that?
And it amazes me because I'm always watching ads, the disreputable way that people present the houses.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
And you brought on that bidding war that was so insane.
That's right.
So many people showed up that the neighbors complained about the traffic. They were parking in
You got to have a bidding war.
driveways.
You got to have a bidding war.
It
It's
was
part of the
insane.
process.
Melissa looked like she was going to pass out by the end
Melissa,
of it.
Melissa's one of our agents. She's great. Yeah, Melissa is great. And, you know, the truth is that if we would have put the house on the market, like I said before, with all the stuff in it, without it being painted, without the floors being stained, with the repairs that were necessary, let's be realistic. What do you think you would have gotten for the house?
$850 maybe?
Probably, maybe if you were lucky, $850, maybe less, because people would go in and say, I can't move into this house.
No,
You know, we made it move-in ready.
People don't understand. We had to take care of a hoarder house the year before.
Right.
Okay, which meant we had to get all the dumpsters,
Mm-hmm.
fill the dumpsters, right? And then at the end, we still had to pay somebody way more than we paid you just to empty it out.
Right. And there was
And
still
the
a ton of stuff there when we
and
went
the
there.
stress of doing that, I said, I can't do this again. You know, when we walked into that house, and even after we took everything out, the family wanted, the valuables and things we
Right.
sold, we looked around and it was overwhelming. And I don't think people realize that, just to be able to just say, okay, Michael, we're ready, and just
Yeah, we
all of
tried.
a sudden it was done.
That's a good point. We make it turnkey. So the hoarder house you're talking about was a different house.
A different house.
Different house
yes.
beforehand. Yeah, so that's the difference. I'm glad that you were able to see that comparison, because that's what we try and do. You know, when you lose a loved one, that's tough enough. And then when you get a real estate inheritance, you know, when you inherit a house, try and tell people, look, somebody worked hard for this house for you. You need to max out the amount of money that you get for this house. This is your real estate inheritance. You need to get as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And that's why we created this Fix It and List It program, quite frankly, because, you know, for people like you, it would be hard to start to first clean a house out and then put it on the market and do it all yourself. But for us, we did a turnkey for you.
Right. And I think another point that was really important is that we almost lost the sale of the house.
Yeah,
And,
we did.
You know, there's an expression, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's a good point.
And our attorney really didn't care. She just kept saying, the papers are in the mail. They'll be coming any day. I said, well, it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, and we
I
still haven't
remember
gotten
that,
it.
actually.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was Melissa who took the time to find out that we could just go downtown Brooklyn and pick
Yeah.
up the letters testamentary ourselves. And we managed to go to closing the day before they would have lost their mortgage commitment.
You know-
Would have lost the sale.
That's interesting. We should look at that. So it's not only the fact that, like we said, you would have maybe have sold the house for $850,000, but you wound up selling it for $962,000. And really, it was because we made a $13,000 investment in the house that you repaid later at closing. You paid that back later at closing, but we laid out the money and did all the work for it. It's not just that. It's that you inherited the house. You had to go through the surrogates court process, which is arduous and expensive. And then once you went through that process, the letters testamentary were issued and just laying on somebody's desk somewhere.
Yep.
And you had a buyer who was in contract, ready to buy the house, and you couldn't close because you didn't have the letters. And when you called your lawyer, they couldn't be bothered
Right.
to follow up because, you know, I mean, look, I'm not knocking lawyers. We love lawyers. Lawyers are great. But let's face it, you know, they've got a lot of clients, a lot of things they're working on. But Melissa, your agent, called the courthouse. She found out from surrogates court that the letters were issued, and then she pushed on an emergency expedited basis and got those letters, right?
Right.
And made it so that you were actually, I think you were able to go down and get those letters. And then closed in the nick of time. There was a mortgage commitment for the buyer that was buying your property, and we were able to close in the nick of time, and you were able to walk away
Yep.
with $962,000. And I'm glad. And I think the reason why I wanted to have you on this podcast is because we tell people all the time, look, you're inheriting a property. It's more than just a property. When you inherit it, these houses, they need to be cleaned out. Maybe there's work that needs to be done on them. And even if they don't need work, like your house, it needed work, but also an improvement. What's an improvement? Just a fresh coat of paint and staining the floors and presenting the property the right way.
Oh, the photos
nice and
were
clean.
amazing. They
Right.
look beautiful.
Doing the photos the right way, marketing it the right way. You wind up selling the property for $60,000, $70,000 above what your expectations are. And that's your sister-in-law who left you the property. That's exactly what she would have wanted.
Absolutely.
And that's what you should be doing when you have a real estate inheritance. You should be maximizing it. And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on here. Because to me, this is such a good program, and people are so weary about it. They just don't believe that, wow, Century 21 is actually going to lay out the money. Century 21 Realty Specialist is going to lay out the money and actually bring in contractors to do the work, clean out the house, put it on the market, create a bidding war, which we did. We created a bidding war with that house, and then get me top dollar for the house, and really, I'm not going to have to do anything. The truth of the matter is, yes, look, we got to work for our money. We got to earn it. And the only way we earn money is if you do better. And so I'm glad that you came on here to share your story, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate it. So anything else that you want to share with us?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It just that it compared to the first house that we had to deal with,
I think that's a good point.
Tremendous amount of work, right, and stress. We felt at the beginning we were going to be going back and forth to Brooklyn forever.
Yeah, I get it.
It was like going to be never ending. And when we were ready to call you in, it was just like almost overnight.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we do for a living. There are a lot of people who are in your situation, and the truth of the matter is that you deserve to get the most of your real estate inheritance, and you don't have to be aggravated about getting it.